When you've been sitting with, we'll just say ancestral trauma for a long time, you'll notice it's like this real clear feeling of it's not you. You know what I mean? Like for a long time, you're so identified with it and entangled in it. You're basically a prisoner to your trauma or to your subconscious mind. But what you'll notice is the longer you sit with it and the more you start to connect to your true nature, your essence, the more you start to notice like, oh, this trauma isn't me. I don't need to listen to it. I don't need to do its bidding. That doesn't mean we're not there to shine a light on it and to love it and to hold it and to tell it it's going to be okay. But, there's a difference between doing that and then like becoming identified with it and believing its stories and taking your cues from how you should live your life from it, right? There's a big difference there. Like if I was identified with my ancestral trauma that I've been sitting with all day, I would not be shooting this video. I would not have done the other creative things I did today. I would have felt like, I would have believed those voices. I'm not good enough. I don't feel good enough to do this. I'm not flowing enough. I'm not in a channeled state. The trauma will come up with all kinds of reasons for you not to do the thing your soul is calling you to do. And that it's hard to call your trauma out on that at first. It's hard to know the difference. And it's because like what I'm noticing, and I'm back at home right now. I went to Austin for a week and I just really got some very clear feedback. It's not a place I like. I don't want to be there at all. I hate Texas. It's I'm trying not to be mean here, but it's not the place for me. We'll just say that. So I'm back at home. So when I'm at home, I'm in the field of my parents. I'm in the field of Montana. This is where my roots come from, right? This is where I was born. This is where all my ancestors are basically buried at. A lot of them. Being around my parents and so when I'm just in this field, I can feel my ancestors in my body. I can feel the remnants of what's left in my body. And like I wrote on the Patreon post, when you've been doing this work for as long as I have, and you have as strong a meditation practice as I have, and you've done all the relational healing work, you get to some really nitty-gritty depths in your body that you can feel into. I remember when Kundalini first awakened, and I was watching an Eckhart Tolle video, and he was saying, feel into your body. Feel into your body. And I just remember thinking, like, I can't, Eckhart. I don't even know what you're talking about. Feel into my body. How do I do that? I don't feel anything in my body because I was so in my head. I was so intellectual. I was so in the masculine mental world, right? And so going from there and 5 years later, now it's like I basically live in my heart center and my gut a lot of the time. And sometimes I'm up in my head a lot when there's a lot of trauma up, when there's a lot of like the feelings I really am not as safe with yet. And the deeper we go, we get safer and safer with more and more uncomfortable feelings and sensations and trauma and stuff. But the point I'm making is when you really start living in your body and you really start going deep and you really start going, I don't know how many thousands of layers deep, you start to notice this ancestral trauma. It's like it grabs on at the depths of you, it like clenches in the heart and in the gut. And it's just like, it gets really dense. It gets really heavy. It's almost like the first few layers are more liquid. They're almost more vaporish, or they just kind of fly out of your body, right? But then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's just like, I would imagine it's like trying to build a house in Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado or something, with just like this pick, and you're just chopping away at like rocks or like some just like really dense substance. And that's kind of what it gets to be like. The deeper you go, the denser it gets. And that's also the movement of the energy, how it goes down into your body. Most awakenings I've realized are the Kundalini awakens in the root, but then it starts awakening the crown and it starts working its way down into the, it goes most refined chakras are up here, and then it goes down into the least refined and gross, meaning dense chakras, like in your, in your sacral and your root. And so the deeper you go inwards, you're also going deeper downwards too, into like, the sacral and the pelvis. It gets to be just like your core wounds. And you see what's been running your life on autopilot for forever. You're like, oh, and then your past decisions and your past like circumstances and everything you've done throughout your life, it makes complete sense because you feel what's been in your body, and you're like, oh, this has been in my body this whole time. No wonder I've had self-sabotaging tendencies. No wonder, these situations will trigger me. No wonder I haven't been able to, whatever the thing is, It's like a real noticing and like noticing of like how much trauma there's been in your body, and just like a lot of compassion for yourself. You're like, holy shit, yeah, this is the real deal. And I think a lot of us who follow my work, including myself, I follow what I say. I try to the best I can. I feel like it's my higher self that talks in these videos. To me, I'm always including me in my process. I feel like a lot of us our souls chose some really fucking dense ancestral lineages to descend into and end. We're like, yeah, I'll take that on. And I was talking to my mom the other night, and I was saying, like, no one's to blame. It's not personal, because me and those of you watching, we could have been the ones who started these lineages like eons ago, right? Thousands of years ago. We could have literally been the beginning of these, and now our souls like wants the full evolution and is coming back into these bodies to end the lineages that we started, right? So it's just like, fuck, my parents aren't to blame, their parents sure as hell aren't to blame, and on and on and on. Like I was talking about a little bit. I don't want to step on the Patreon videos too much. But it's just like this stuff is downloaded into our cells, into our parent cells and their cells, their parent cells. And it's on us. We're doing the clearing work, So yeah, I'm at home. I've been sitting with this stuff all day. It's really intense. And the core wounds that I'm really seeing, people used to talk to me about like, oh yeah, you probably have an unworthiness wound, or core wounds of you're not good enough. And conceptually it made sense. But I never really had it that feeling in my body fully. But what I'm like excavating now, what I'm making contact with now, especially in my heart, a little bit in my gut, is like this lingering feeling of like lack, unworthiness, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not enough. And so it's just been sitting with those. And I think that's like the core root of this ancestral trauma that I came into this body to clear, right? And so all of those beliefs are coming up, and they're so convincing, and the energies are just so dense and just like hard to be with, and they're sharp, and they just hurt. And a lot of the heart is the healer, so a lot of the stuff is clearing through the heart. So I've just been being with my heart in a gentle way. And making these videos helps it move too. But like, it just feels stuck. It feels just like this energy that's hanging on for dear life. Like I keep saying, like I'm getting to the core of this stuff. And I think that makes sense, 5 years into this process, that I'd be getting into like the depths. And so, yeah, just working with this material and this content within myself. And what it does is it creates for a lot of opportunity to share. Because that's what the creative, like sensitive people are the most creative people, right? And what sensitive implies is that they feel the deepest. And when we feel the deepest, that's like the alchemical process of creation. It's like the pain and the trauma is like what creates these videos. It's like what creates paintings, is what creates the inspiration for writing and etc., music, etc. I mean, look at all the music you hear on the radio. It's usually all inspired by like deep pain, heartbreak, joy, just like the deepest feelings, right? And so those that are willing to feel the deepest tend to be the most creative because there's more content. It's like the pain is your content, is actually going to be the thing you share. Like you can share it while it's real, you can share it as you're processing it, and you can share about it on the other side when you've learned the lessons, right? That's I think another reason why we all descended into these like dense timelines is it's lots of substance, it's lots of material to play with as alchemists, we needed this substance to give as much as we wanted to give. the more pain you feel, the more you have to give, because the more pain you transmute, the more light there is to share, right? Pain is just light, unexcavated, you know, or unrefined, however you want to say it. Pain is just light, like it's just waiting to be turned into light. That's all it is. The more darkness you have to transmute, the more light you're going to be able to give. You know, it's like you can't get to the light except through darkness. So I'm not saying any of this as well as I'd like, but you guys get the point. I don't really have to say it perfectly. That's the other thing. Like, I'm seeing a lot of my perfectionist tendencies coming up, or a lot of my, like, people aren't going to like me if I'm not in a super duper channeled state speaking eloquently, or if I'm not in this energetic state, I'll be rejected. And just all of these type of beliefs are coming up for me. But it's a gift that I'm here, that I'm at home. It's a blessing on many levels, you know. My parents are great. It's been nice to just rest. I didn't leave on as good of terms when I left last time as I'd like. So I had this perspective shift. I think I'll save that for a different video. My system's saying, all right, we've reached capacity for this one. So I hope you got something out of this. Just a little bit of a rambly video. Just kind of sharing what I learned. I've been giving lots of love to the Patreon community. So if you want some extra videos, head on over there. Would love to see you over there. You could also, it's like a gateway into joining the Patreon support group with a very lovely tribe. I'm going to be generating some more interest in that group, so hopefully we can get some more activity going there, some more support, some more back and forth. That would be great. But yeah, other than that, I'm sending you all so much love. I'll leave the link for the Patreon channel. I'll leave the link for sessions and all that good stuff in the description. Sending you all the highest love. And yeah, like I said, I hope you're all doing great. Much love and namaste.